My name is Janet Murguía. I'm President and CEO of UnidosUS. We are the largest Hispanic civil rights and advocacy organization in the United States. I came to learn a little bit more about what's happening here in Spain and to learn about perhaps how we can better understand the development of this country economically and politically and socially. As an organization, we've existed for over 50 years now. We are UnidosUS, but for many years, and when we started, we were the Southwest Council of La Raza and then became the National Council of La Raza. And for me, we had an opportunity as we approached our 50th anniversary to not just look back at our legacy, but to look ahead at the future of our organization and its mission, and to look at our brand and understand that it needed to reflect the Latino community we are today. We have a strong sense of inclusion, and La Raza was seen as a narrow term. So we worked hard, we got a lot more information, and we landed on UnidosUS. I think que es propio. It's the right name for who we are today and how we want to move forward in the future. Our mission is to empower the Latino community socially, economically, and politically, to open the doors to the American dream so that every Latino can have an opportunity to succeed. And our method of work is really to provide programs and services across communities in the United States through a network of community-based organizations that primarily serve Latino families. We provide health services, education support, housing and financial economic empowerment services, and workforce, civil rights, citizenship, and voting programs. There are some aspects to our demographics that are changing the nature of our Latino community. We know that we're a very young community. The average age of the Latino community in the United States is 26 years old. The other aspect that has changed identity for Hispanics and Latinos in the U.S. is that we marry outside of our ethnicity more than any other race or ethnicity in the United States. We're a very inclusive community, and it's changing some in the nature of who calls themselves a Latino or Hispanic. Of course, immigrants from Spain who come to the United States are part of that national gathering of Latinos and Hispanics in the U.S. And I think it's important for us to realize that we must be connected, because in unity there is strength, and in strength there is power. When we come together, we have the power to advance our common objectives, our goals, and to do so in a way that reflects our values. As we all know, the Latino community, the Hispanic community, is not a monolithic group. We have different aspects to our cultures and different journeys that we've taken as we've evolved as different Latino and Hispanic communities. And the fact is that while we have our differences, we also have common bonds. Language is often one of the most strongest bonds that we have, and also cultural ties. The fact that we have interests in music and art that reflects the nature of our cultures is something that I think helps in keeping us together. But I would also argue there's a common set of values that also bonds our communities. This strong sense of family, oftentimes a strong sense of faith, and a sense of community. All of those things combine to, I think, still provide a sense of connectedness, a sense of unidad, a sense of understanding that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. And so we try to utilize and leverage that bond to advocate for policies and changes that are in the best interests of our community, but also that are in the best interests of our country. So we look at our community in the United States and we bring a big tent mentality. We believe that we should come together as a Latino community, as a Hispanic community, and we invite others to join us. Well, we've seen great changes that have affected our community, and regrettably, not all of them have been positive. We've made great progress in key areas on behalf of the Latino community. We've seen the growth of our community as a labor and workforce in the United States, but we've also been, as Latino and Latinas, key drivers of the growth of small business and entrepreneurship. We've seen our demographics have the impact to really transform the future economic engine of the country. But unfortunately, we've seen some barriers also created for our community, and so now we're focused on trying to defend and protect our community from policies such as separation of children and families on the border and the terrible conditions that children are often found in. Frankly, we are more of what I would call an immigrant integration organization. We work within the United States to help everyone, but especially the Latino community and immigrants who want to have on-ramps to opportunities in access to health care, to education, to workforce, to housing. We've created a home ownership financial counseling network that has provided 35,000 families a chance to purchase their first-time homes. We've also been at the forefront of making sure that our community has access to health care and health care services. We fought for the health care reform, the Affordable Care Act, which now, because of its passage, allows 4 million Latinos, Hispanics to have access to health care that they wouldn't otherwise have. And those are primarily children and families who would be otherwise vulnerable to no health care. So there's different ways we lead in our work, but I believe that we've made some progress, measurable progress for our community. We have higher graduation rates from high school, but we're facing still some now more civil rights challenges to our community. And so we find ourselves in a posture to have to defend and protect our community while we try to look for the best opportunities to advance our agenda. The first time that I visited Spain was actually when I was at the university in the United States and had the chance to participate in a summer study abroad program. And I participated with other fellow students, and primarily we were based in Barcelona, but we traveled throughout Spain and got to have an appreciation and an understanding of Spain at the time. Spain was a different country back then. I'm so impressed by what I see today. I see a Spain that values diversity, that promotes inclusion and equality and equity and fairness. I know it seems that economically there may be some challenges, but the spirit of Spain as a model for inclusion is very, very much something that is notable and I think praiseworthy. There, I think, are going to be more and more people looking to Spain as we see the politics in Europe play out as, I think, a important state to be viewed at as how they're reconciling many of their challenges and doing so without losing the spirit of equity, equality, inclusion, fairness, and a sense that while you can be proud to be a Spaniard, diversity is a strength. So I think that Spain can be a model for many countries in the future. Well, I think the partnership that Fundación España, Estados Unidos has with the U.S.-Spain Council can be a very strong partnership, an important vehicle that can drive better understanding, but also more opportunities to partner in various sectors. Increasing the knowledge and understanding by civic leaders and business leaders and political leaders, I think can open up the doors of opportunity for more engagement. There's oftentimes, I think, just a lack of some of the basic understandings of what we may have that may help further the interests of Spain and what Spain may have that may help be attractive and further the interests of the United States. But more importantly, I think connecting our Hispanic communities, our Latino and Hispanic communities, to better understand what is happening in Spain and how Spanish is a driving language for the world. And it is a connector for many in the United States, not just to Latin America, but to Europe and across the world. For me, I think that there are some opportunities there from a business standpoint that would allow us to leverage. And I think having that exchange, the counterpart organizations working together, can really build more knowledge and create more opportunities. In one of my visits here in Spain, I was learning about a special program of dual language education, the bilingual program in the autonomy of Madrid. And one of the things that I learned is that there are many volunteers needed to provide language assistance in this country, and that you look for volunteers across the world to come and do that. But clearly, the United States is a source for those language assistance volunteers. And in particular, having those language assistance volunteers come from the various schools of education at the universities in the United States could be one way to close the gap, because I know there's still more volunteers that are needed. I think the more that we learn from each other, there are opportunities to fill gaps that strengthen the program here in Spain, but that give the opportunity for many of our young people who are studying education a chance to be exposed not only to their craft here in Spain, but to also have a better understanding of other countries and to take away a very holistic educational approach. We should recognize that we're not better than anyone else, but we're not less than anyone else either. The sun shines for everyone. There is opportunity out there if you're determined to find it. One of the assets that we have as families connected to immigrants and immigrant communities is that we have a deep sense of optimism that there will be a brighter future for our families. And we have a strong work ethic. And I think that when we combine our values, our strong sense of faith and family and community with that work ethic, I do believe all is possible. But ultimately, I know from my parents, their belief that education would be the key to the future for our family was also true. So pursuing an education, fighting for your children to have an education is also important. It can be the leveler of all challenges that we face in breaking down barriers. The road for immigrants is not often easy, but what we have seen is that we bring so much to the countries that we come to that we need to value that and understand that we are not coming to countries with our hands out. We're coming with our hands ready to work and to create the opportunity that we can ultimately find ese sueño americano for our families and, for ourselves. So I would say that it's important to never stop believing in yourselves and in believing that a brighter future is out there if you're willing to work for it and encourage your children to pursue an education and achieve their full potential.